So we've been hearing a lot about Chat GPT. I mean, you are now the CEO of an AI company. I wanted to hear from you in terms of what does this Chat GPT is like. There's a lot of buzz around Chat GPT.
I mean, I don't know if I'm an expert on the topic, but we are on the very applied end of things, and I think the way we think of ChatGPT as a large language model is something that has fundamentally a lot of utility. I mean, I think what is more interesting to me is when I'm talking to clients, a lot of them are playing around with it. They are actually
Mhm.
utilizing it with their children. So I think it's certainly a leap forward in the scheme of things. But it has significant business implications as well, right? I mean, we are already testing it out for some of our use cases at Bloom AI. So I think it's a big leap forward, but at the same time, there is a lot of configuration and a lot of ML work that still needs to happen. But fundamentally, I think it's a technology that has gone into the hands of
Mhm.
millions of people, and it's given them like a feel of what it can actually feel. Although we interact with machine learning every day, through our phones,
Uh-huh.
through our physical
Uh-huh.
and digital environment. But I think this is something that people have sort of taken interactivity to the next level, and of course, it's created a lot of buzz. So very exciting, and we're
Uh-huh.
here to see what happens next with it.
I mean, the I think from a layman perspective, when I look at it, I'm like, okay, um, there we saw industrial revolution, we saw internet revolution, we saw mobile, and I think AI, as you are saying, machine learning, which you're talking as ML, is just getting started. I mean, a lot of people talk about the implication to jobs. So you are talking from your perspective of how you can use it for business, but a lot of people look at it and say, what does this mean for my job if machines are able to do it? So what's your view on as we move into this machine learning or artificial intelligence era? What do you think is as a human, what are the things that will be required for us to succeed?
See, uh, I think there's a very cliched saying that people who use machine learning will replace people who don't use machine learning. It's not going to be machine learning replacing people. It's going to be,
Mhm.
sort of adopters. So I think we are certainly at a point where I think the naysayers are getting challenged. The applications in the field of machine learning are expanding. They're coming into our everyday lives. So I think what that means for the future, there are certain philosophical aspects and there are certain practical aspects. The philosophical aspect to me is that I think um, as humans, we have not explored our true potential, right? I mean, we
Mhm.
do not know our full potential. And I think the assisted technologies around us help us really sort of expand our own potential, right? And that potential applies sort of in our daily lives, in our work lives, in no matter what sphere you look at, essentially, right? More so at work, I think there are kind of different slices, but I think the most simple way to think about it is that I think humans are going to be needed more for logic building, for configurations. Like think of humans as the configurator layer in this entire paradigm, right? So if you
Mhm.
start becoming the configurators, the ideators, the creators, right? Then you have access to a lot of assistive technology to take it to the next level, right? And also give you a much better starting point, right? I mean, you talk about Chat GPT, for example. I think it has the ability to fundamentally change how education is taught today. Like I was talking to a professor at college. I mean, with all
Mhm.
students having access to something like ChatGPT, like how does that change the sort of paradigm of teaching, essentially, right?
Mhm.
So I think we are going through some very structural changes in the society. And I
Mhm.
think if we will zoom out 50 years later, this era is going to be studied, like you said, as whatever is some industrial 4.0 or something like
Mhm.
that. Um,
Mhm.
so I think we are very much in that era. We're living through it, and I think many
Mhm.
people realize that, but many people are also like, hey, this is not going to change, right? Humans will default back, technology will fail somewhere. But this has been said every time
Mhm.
sort of leap forward happens. So uh, there are big changes coming is all I can say. I mean, I cannot imagine the lives our kids will be living 20 years later.
Mhm.
It's hard to predict that
Mhm.
basically today.